Our Tuesday chat. Today's actually not Tuesday, it's Saturday, and I'm here with a wonderful friend of mine, Tia Reid. And everyone say hello to Tia. Tia, say hello to everyone. We've had Tia on our show before, and I highly recommend you go back and listen to that episode. I want to say it may have been January or February of last year that we did that recording, talking about food addiction. And we've learned so much from Tia. I've learned so much from Tia and from her story. And we're just wrapping up our book club on Jen Unwin's Fork in the Road, which is an amazing short book about food addiction, getting you thinking about, do you have a problem with food addiction? What does that look like? Understanding the pathology of it. And since we've just wrapped that up, I wanted to bring Tia back on to kind of just share a little bit more of her story and to shed some hope and some light into your life. And so, Tia, take just a minute and introduce yourself, give people a little bit of background about you, refresh them about your story, and kind of catch us up on life today.
Great, thanks. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Amanda. I love talking to you always, and thanks for having me back. I just want to make sure everybody knows I'm not a doctor, so I can't give you medical advice in any way. I'm just sharing my story, what's worked for me, and the education that I've learned along the way. Mm-hmm. So I was really sick. I had so many diseases, type 2 diabetes with an insulin pump, obesity, GERD, adrenal insufficiency, you name it, I had it. And along the way, I ended up gaining a lot of weight using a CPAP machine. I was at 250, 60 pounds at my highest weight. And I just felt like I was going to die. Mm-hmm. And then I saw a low carb doctor, and he brought up, sugar addiction or carb addiction. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But it's real because we got to eat, right? We have to eat to live. Mm-hmm. So this is what happened to me. And I just want to let everyone know that there's hope for everyone because you can battle this. And with low carb nutrition, it kind of gets rid of all the food noise in your head. So my advice would be to start out with your food and your nutrition because, one of my favorite quotes from Tia Reid is the most powerful way to change brain chemistry is through food because that is where the brain chemicals come from, right? Mm-hmm. And food addiction is a disease of the brain. So it starts in the brain. And you have to learn the tools to deal with it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love the book that you're sharing with your community right now. It's one of my favorites. I carry it with me when I go places just to refresh my memory because years of eating poorly really did hamper my brain.
Yeah.
So, you can heal too. Yeah. You just gotta, I'd like to share with you, parts of my journey and how I dealt with my food addiction because I'm on year 6 now, about 2018 is when I started implementing a sugar-free life for freedom. And it's been magical.
Well, let's start kind of after you first realized, all right, I'm a sugar addict. That had to be a big blow, when most people realize that they have a problem like that, because most people don't think of food as being something that you can truly have an addiction with or a problem with. How did that affect you when you first learned 6 years ago, oh my goodness, I'm a food addict? Was it a relief like some of the people in the book talked about to know that, all right, you actually have a condition, or was it something that was disheartening to you in the beginning?
Well, for me, it was a huge relief because that's the first time I felt hope. Like I knew other people had battled addictions, no matter whether it should be, whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever, but I could battle this, right? Mm-hmm. I knew I had a diagnosis. Okay, so what am I going to do about it now? So, I was on fire to do something. So I researched more, asked for where I could get some more education because knowledge is power. Mm-hmm. So I joined the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners to get my accreditation through Nutrition Network. So you don't even have to be a medical professional to do that. You can use the Nutrition Network pathway for that. And I was on fire to help other people, after that. But I had to sit down with my family and say, listen, you guys know I'm sick. I found a diagnosis and I need your help. I need your help to get all these nasty foods that are making me sick out of the house. Support is what you need. And if you can get your family on board first, that is incredible. And they were all like, yes, Mom, let's do it.
So everybody in your household was on board with making these changes.
Yeah, well, they could see it. I couldn't walk very far. We couldn't go on family vacation. They would be miles ahead of me. Anywhere we go, I'd have to stop and rest. It was no way to live. It was no way to live. Mm-hmm. And so I want to tell everyone and never give up, no matter what. Every day's a new day to start again. And every meal's a new way to start again. So if you mess up, it's okay. Get right back on that next meal. Don't wait days or months or weeks like can happen. Just get on there. Make your mind up that you deserve health because you do. Everyone is born to deserve metabolic health.
Absolutely. We use the scenario of a red light, and we say your green foods are your safe foods. That's where we don't look at it like a restriction. Look at it like this is where you're safe. This is where you're comfortable. You're good. Your yellow foods, you can have them, but those you have to use caution with because even though they're good, healthy foods, they might trigger someone. Like, for example, blueberries are a fine and healthy and good food, but for some people, berries are still triggers because of the sugar that is within them. Nuts can still be triggers. And then we say, all right, the red light or the red page is like a red light. It means stop, don't do it. But sometimes in life we run red lights and you don't mean to. It can get you into some trouble. But just because you did it once in that day doesn't mean you keep running all the rest of the red lights because you ran the first one. So the very next light you come on, you stop. Well, the very next time you put food or drink in your mouth, don't keep running that red light. Get back on that track. So say someone doesn't have the family support. Like if they find out they're a food addict and they're walking into their home and their family's like, well, glad you got your diagnosis. Good for you. Figure it out. You'll do great, but I'm still going to sit over here and eat these things because I don't have a problem with that. What are some things that they can do within their home when they're trying to make these changes if they don't have that family support?
That's a good question because you have to protect yourself from yourself, right? So I would suggest getting a shelf that's only yours and tell them, hey, that's my shelf. Those are the foods that are for me. Mm-hmm. You can eat the way you want to eat, but I need to do this so that I feel better because those other foods make me sick. They make me sick. They make me tired. And surely if they love you, they're going to understand. Yeah. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mom or my wife or whoever you are to them, needs my support. Yeah. So, we started out with just throwing those things out and some of the things we brought to a shelter because, some people can't afford some foods and that's what we had to do. But
makes you feel better about getting rid of them.
Yeah. And then you need to protect yourself by knowing what your triggers are. What foods are my triggers? What foods I can't live without? And then try to replace them possibly with better choices so that when you are in a situation or your stress levels are high, you can reach for that instead of something else that would harm you. So harm reduction is a great way to help you get through those times as well. And I like to bring my own food to a function. If I know, I might start my whole day and look up at myself in the mirror and say, okay, you have today, right? You have 24 hours. This is your day. I can do this for 24 hours. And then write down, what are your struggles going to be for the day? Are you going into a situation where you need protection? What are you going to do about it? So I'll maybe, if I know I'm going somewhere, I might fill myself up with a nice, nutritious meal filled with protein and fat before I even go. So you don't want to find yourself hungry in any situation. So that's really important.
Yeah. No, I love that tip of just being prepared for unexpected, having those things around that in those moments you're at least reaching for a safer option. But then also focusing on a day at a time. And sometimes you're just focusing on the next hour, the very next decision, but don't beat yourself up for the decisions from yesterday. You can't change those. What can we do today? How can I commit to and say, today I'm doing this? And then tomorrow you commit to the next day. One of the things that we like to tell people when they first come in is if your family's not on board, can they at least be halfway on board? For example, I love Rocky Road ice cream. Can we not bring Rocky Road ice cream in the house? And if they want ice cream, can they bring the mint chocolate chip in that they love and I hate? Something that's not quite a trigger food for me. Can we find compromises within this so that they can still have some things that they're loving that while I'm temporarily getting stronger? So relapse is something they talk about in the book, and relapse happens in all forms of addiction, alcohol, drugs, no matter what it is. Relapse happens in food addiction. And you kind of mentioned that, you're not going to be perfect and things. Do you remember kind of the first time that you had a relapse, or maybe you didn't have a relapse? Maybe you were like, when I'm clean and there's nothing else. But do you remember the first time that you had a relapse, kind of what triggered it, and then how you pulled yourself back out of that relapse?
Well, of course, I've had relapses. What I call relapses, everybody's definition might be different, but I write down when I've had a relapse. Okay, how did that food make me feel? What was I doing at the time? Was there something that happened a few days before? Because you can have stressful situations and you might rocket right through it. But then how are you going to protect yourself the next day or the day after when you're still thinking about those items?
And those hormones are still high in your body too.
Right. So I think making a food journal is really important to know how those foods make you feel.
Yeah.
How are your energy levels after you've eaten that? Were you just bored? I mean, because a lot of people eat because they're just bored. So taking that pause is really, really important when you're starting to reach for something that is a trigger food for you. Take that pause, walk away from it for a while, drink some hot tea or some hot coffee, or guzzle some water, and then revisit that. Am I still hungry? It's really important that you get enough sleep, because if you've been sleep deprived the night before as well, those cravings can hit you hard as well. A lot of people don't think about their sleep being is so important, but it's so important to schedule time for sleep and put that phone down, early in the evening. And I have trouble. I have to schedule my time. Okay, this is it. I'm not putting my phone down a couple hours before bed. So, don't snack. So if you can, snacking is really dangerous for someone like myself. So fill yourself on the protein and fat so that you're not snacking. If you end up snacking, make sure it's a nutrition snack, not a carby snack. So grab a hard-boiled egg, grab some cheese, a few nuts. Some people, though, nuts are triggers for them. If you like nuts, I would suggest eating a few with your meal.
Yeah. Or making sure they're unsalted so you're not hitting two pleasure sugars at the same time. And definitely don't sit with an open bag, measure them out and put the bag away kind of thing, so that, you portion size those and looked at that. I love the tip that you gave about drinking the hot tea or the hot coffee, because we learned in the book about how warmth increases oxytocin, which makes us feel comfortable and safe and connected. And so even if you're alone, that's one way you can trigger that oxytocin hormone that gives us that calm center of the brain and makes us not want to eat. That's something that pulled out in the book. So I love that you mentioned that one there.
And then
go ahead.
And then speaking out loud to yourself, you might think it's crazy, but I've done it. It's like, why do I want this?
Yeah.
I know it's going to harm me. Why? Ask yourself these questions, when you're craving a treat or something, because you have to rewire your brain. Like
And that
it's
takes
like training.
time.
You have to getting those pathways so that you dig another pathway
Mhm.
to exit that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, were there triggers that were non-food triggers? I
Oh,
guess where am I
yeah.
getting that? So yeah, emotional situations you mentioned, but did you notice some things in your environment that you had to change because they were triggers, even though they weren't food, but they triggered you to eat?
Yeah, I mean, people, places, and things all can trigger you. So you need to know those. You need to write those down and really have a, a, a great conversation with yourself and write those things down and ask yourself, you know, what these things are so you can stay away from them. You need to make your environment safe.
Mhm.
So, it might be like in the beginning of your journey, it might be, okay, I can't go to that party
Mhm.
because I know that it's going to harm me and I know that I'm not strong enough. So, um, it your brain takes over. You can't make it stop. You can't make those thoughts go away. You can only deal with them, right? They're
Yeah.
only thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to pass by if you just take the time and maybe take a walk, go put your puzzle together, call a friend. I did that. I called my daughter. She was my friend. She was um my buddy, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to eat this. What do you want to do? And she's like, well, go outside and we'll walk while you're talking, talk
Yeah.
and walk at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a friend or somebody you can confide in or join a community
Mhm.
like Amanda's to get you through those hard times, to get somebody on the phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We have a Facebook support group, and patients can go on there and post at any point and get feedback from other clients and from staff too. I had to learn in my journey that I can't watch TV at night. So actually, I only watch TV if I'm on my elliptical. 'Cause
That's a great.
it doesn't trigger me to eat, and then if I wanna watch a show, it gives me incentive to get onto my elliptical and exercise, but I learned I had to go read a book at night. I could not sit in front of the TV because the TV triggered me to want to eat. So that was just a
Yeah,
big change that I had to make. So, healing doesn't happen overnight. Healing in the
no,
brain doesn't happen overnight, but also healing of the physical body doesn't happen overnight. So you had all these health conditions. Um, how quickly did you notice a turnaround in your health conditions? How long did it take you from the beginning of your journey to get off of all of these medicines? Because it's not just like, okay, I'm low carb and tomorrow I can quit everything. That it doesn't happen that way. It's a journey, it's a process. So how long did it kind of take you to get to that point of healing for your physical body, but also a place where you felt like you were on a not necessarily healed from your addiction, but in a better place with your brain chemistry and things like that?
that's a good question because this is different for everyone. Everyone's journey is different, and everyone's time frame is
Mhm.
different. So I had to really get rid of all the negative self-talk in my head because there was lots of food chatter going on in there. But the low carb nutrition kind of healed that chatter and made it soft.
Mhm.
So which enabled me. But I think it was about, I guess, 4 years. The weight kind of came off pretty quick in the beginning.
Mhm.
Um, but the medications were really hard to get off of. Like in the
Mhm.
beginning, I was able to, under a doctor's care, get rid of my insulin pump pretty
Mhm.
quick.
Mhm.
Um, it was the Cymbalta and the um, Wellbutrin that was kind of tough for me
Mhm.
because depression. I was so depressed. I was
Mhm.
so depressed. I didn't understand why this was happening to me. You
Mhm.
know, I was full of life at one time, and then it was like totally opposite of what I had been before. My energy levels were like totally. I would just wanted to sleep all the time. I
Mhm.
didn't want to go anywhere. So those were the hardest to get off of, and I'd say pretty much 5 years
Mhm.
on dwindling those down. I at one time I even took Cymbalta has little beads in it. I even like opened them up and tried to take beads out. You know, you don't really know how many coming out because they're so little. But you know, I had, it was kind of like a in one experiment that I had to get off those, because I would cry at the drop of a hat. My emotions and my insulin levels in the beginning were just like a roller coaster ride. So I felt like this nutrition kind of lined out my sugar and my insulin levels really fast to give me that line, wherein the CGM was a lifesaver for me to see what foods did what in my body. And I think it's a great tool for anyone. You don't even have to have diabetes to wear that tool and educate yourself on what foods do in your body. I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah, I wish I would have had it at the beginning of my journey, because the first time I put one on, I was already been low carb for a while, and it was kind of boring. I was like, I'm not seeing anything. Like, oh, you're not going to see anything.
I keep saying fruit is nature's sugar. And for someone like myself, fruit, I thought I would eat a big bowl of fruit every morning, you know, with my oatmeal and my toast. And I was like, right away, I was like, whoa, I can't eat any of that anymore.
Yeah. No, it's very eye-opening. So yes, I love that tool. So yeah, you know, I see the same thing in people's journey. It's not like you make this change and a month later, everything's great. It's years. It didn't take what didn't happen overnight. We didn't get to this point overnight. We're reversing years of damage to our mind and our body. And so be patient with it. Do you remember the moment when it may have never been just about the weight for you? So that may not be a fair question, but trying to help people understand that when you have food addiction, this is not a weight loss journey. Yes, that's a good byproduct, but that can't be the goal. That can't be the main driver. Did you have to have that mental switch at some point to where it was like, all right, it's not about the weight. It's not about getting skinny. It's not about looking a certain way. It's about the health, or about the other side of it?
Well, I knew pretty well right away when I started eating this way that it was like medicine for my mind, because the brain fog lifted. I had these energy levels that I hadn't had for years. I wanted to go out and walk now. I didn't want to walk. Like, I'm like, it's lunchtime. Well, I'm not even hungry now. So I'm going to go take a walk. You know, I'm like, whoa, it was like mind blowing. Do this with nutrition. And why hadn't anyone showed me this before or told me this? You know, you have type 2 diabetes and they say, okay, eat this way, you know, but it wasn't working. I just kept getting bigger and bigger because I would eat what I wanted and then just give myself a bolus. Well, it's just magical. And I encourage everyone to try it for at least 30 days.
Yeah. So, but yeah, sometimes you just got to put the scale away and focus on everything else, you know, all the non-scale victories, and know that this is about health and healing, and the pounds are a secondary thing. No.
I just wanted off all those medications. So when the weight came with it, I was like, whoa. I can wear a swimsuit now. I never wanted to do that.
Yeah. All right. So let's circle back around. If someone feels like that they could have some of the same struggles, how can they determine if they are a food addict? And where's the first place do you think they should go to start looking for help? Like, if they were just going on the internet trying to find one place to start finding help, how do they find out if they are, and what's the first place you recommend?
Well, there's all kinds of tools out there screening tools that you can use for this. Like, there's the Craved screening tool. There's an Uncope screening tool.
Which is in the book.
You answer questions. Yeah, and Jen Unwin's her screening tool is amazing. You can pretty well answer those questions and have an idea, you know. And then you can also go to Bitten Johnson's website and look for a sugar license professional to get a true diagnosis. But like I said, those little tools, screening tools, the Uncope and the Craved, those are going to tell you, you're going to have an idea whether or not you have an addiction or not.
Yeah. And then where would be the first kind of website that you would go to for support, or a couple of different websites that you think are good places to go to for support and to start working on healing themselves?
Yeah, well, definitely there is a lot of websites out there. I love Dr. Tro's, of course, and
Yeah.
his community. It's amazing. So go to drtro.com, and you can see he has a free community also where people, post their struggles and they help each other in there as well.
Mhm.
And then you can pay for the premium app, which it's off the charts amazing.
Mhm.
So, and then there's many others out there. You can look them up on Google.
Yeah. Yeah,
But of
there's
course, in
some.
the community,
Yeah.
uh, your
SMHP
community,
is a good place. Nutrition Network is a good place. But you mentioned Benton
yeah.
Johnson. Benton Johnson. There's the her lady.
Oh,
The name just skipped my mind. She wrote the textbook.
Vera Tarman's community is amazing as well.
Yeah, that's not the one I was thinking of. Oh my goodness, she spoke at SMHP for the last several years, and her name has just left me. And she wrote.
Joan, are you talking
Yes,
about Joan?
from
Yeah,
Iceland. Yeah, she's
yeah,
got a good
yeah.
online community with support groups that you can listen. I have patients that have tried Overeaters Anonymous, which I think there's some good things there, but there's also, they're
Sugar
very
X
diet
Global,
agnostic. What was that?
Sugar X
Oh,
Global is
yeah,
a fantastic community as well, and I've been in it for many years with Dave, Judy, and Anna.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And I
yeah.
think isn't Anna quoted in the book several times?
Oh
Is that
yeah, she's in there everywhere. I
yeah,
just love her to death. Yeah.
yeah,
You should have
great.
her on the show.
Oh, I should. I definitely should.
Yeah, right in the
Okay.
yeah.
So,
That,
Tia,
that's
what
a
is? Go ahead.
oh no, you go first.
I was just going to say, what is kind of next on your horizon? What are you doing now with yourself?
Okay, so I've recently taken a position as a health coach with Dr. Tro's community,
Yeah.
and I'm just new to me right now, and I'm really excited to help people there. So
Yeah.
if you'd like to see me there, go to drtros.com, DOCTRO,
Yes.
TRO.com, not
He does
DR.
have he does have programs where you can work directly with the health coach, and so you can work
Yeah,
with Tia if you
yeah.
feel like that food addiction is an issue and you want her help and that kind of thing. I think it's amazing that you came from a corporate job in a hospital that you weren't directly making the food decisions, but it was involved in what we fed, people, and it was breaking you emotionally, and you were just like, I can't continue to do this, even though it's a great career, a great place, very supportive place. It was the heartbreak of seeing the
It
cycle
was hard.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard to
And new,
see. It was okay for a diabetic patient to eat pancakes or
yeah,
syrup.
yeah, yeah.
It
But
wasn't. It didn't feel like it was harm reduction for them.
yeah, it was not harm reduction, and so you kind of broke through, and now you're on, as Tro likes to call it, you join the dark side to help us fight to get people out of that dark side kind of
It's
thing.
such a great community, and I had been part of their free community for a while there.
Yeah, yeah,
Great people, and I just want to tell everybody again: never give up. Never give up, no
absolutely,
matter. Yeah.
absolutely. So give us your top tips for fighting food addiction. What are the things that have helped you the absolute most? The tricks and tips.
I think giving yourself grace and knowing that you're expecting that you're going to mess up because you're going to mess up, but it's okay
Mm-hmm.
because you're starting a new way of eating, you're starting a new life, and be patient with yourself, and that harm reduction things are okay, you know, and especially in the beginning to get you through, to bridge you through to where you need to go. So keep your car safe, keep your purse safe. Keep all your environments safe to protect yourself from yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
join a community of
Yes, you got
like-minded
the
people.
support. You got to have that support. So
Community is key.
it
Yeah.
is, yes. This August, we are having low carb for better health. This is our third year. We're so
Yay.
super excited. It's going to be bigger and better and fun, and another great place to meet up with people who can offer support, meet others who are on healthcare journeys, meet experts who are on these journeys. And I am happy to let everyone know that Miss Tia will be there on our speaker panel giving her advice to you guys. So this year we're doing things a little different. Friday night's a VIP dinner night to where it's just a low-key time to have a dinner with the speakers and then open questions and answers. So it's a great time to connect with people like Tia and the other speakers that will be there. And then we'll hear her talk along with the others on Saturday. And you can even chat with her between the talks and during the breaks and things of that nature. So Tia, I'm so excited to have you this year. I can't wait to see what you're going to bring and add to our low carb event. And it's just going to be a fun time. I can't wait.
I'm excited too. It was one of my favorite events of the year last year. The networking was incredible. Everybody was nice, and the goodie bags were like awesome.
I got 3 more commitments to the goodie bag just yesterday. I'm stuck in it.
Yeah, I hope to see you all there.
Yes, I hope to see everyone there. Well, everyone that can come. We do have a max capacity, which last year we sold all the tickets that we could sell. And this year I expect to sell out again. So if you want to come, get your tickets early so that you can make sure that you will be there. All right, Tia, thank you for joining me on this Saturday to record for our Tuesday Live. I greatly appreciate your time and love the work that you're doing. And I can't wait to see where your career goes from here.
Thanks, Amanda.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.